Hello, YouTube, Ronan Kazi. YouTube. A little bit ago, I did a video on Office solutions. Now you've switched to Linux. It's the new year. You've switched to Linux. Now what are you going to do? You got to do some work sometimes, right, YouTube? That was supposed to be a sign of Wall Street, and I crossed out and wrote over Work Street. Haha. I'm doing a terminal right now on the screen. And during that video, I realized, like, the one I like the most is Microsoft Office. I don't want them to steal all my stuff. Are there newer, different paradigms to do Office stuff? Number one, the quick, easiest one is, yes, there is. You can use things like Obsidian, and there's other programs that kind of like a all-in-one space. You can do a table in there. You can do your notes in there. You can put images in there and all those kinds of things. Joplin, there's a bunch of them that do that. I don't like the file format, the tree format. I used a program called Tornado Notes, and that company then made InfoSelect, and InfoSelect had on the left a tree structure, on the right was the note. I can't stand that, so I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. If you can like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, share, maybe buy me a cup of coffee or a Monster, whatever you want to do. Thanks, YouTube. So looking at the Office programs, I also realized you could run Office programs, spreadsheets, word processors out of the terminal. So I tried to do that. What I learned quickly was I wasn't really familiar with VIM. One of the jobs I worked at had a Unix, and so we would have to be a little bit fluent in those type of editors, but I just never, I deleted that pretty quickly. Here I'm in another terminal. We're going to get to the highlight of the terminals in the whole Fallout series. Is a classic thing that happens, and it's kind of a cool little puzzle thing, but I'm searching for one of those terminals right now. So that was like, well, what if you could run all your spreadsheets? Like, you want to do a small spreadsheet where you're just doing your grocery list. You could just do it in the terminal, pound it out real fast. Hey, you're taking notes. Instead of having all these note things, I can just take a note right in terminal. Man, this is great. VIM knowledge of that is limiting. That, how to use the keystrokes, is like how computers were back in the day. There was a program called WordStar that had like the default kind of setup for how you were going to use the control commands to do saving, formatting, everything. And that kind of came a standard. Sometimes I see that in some of the Linux stuff, like Nano. Nano reminds me of WordStar a lot, and it has some of the same command structure. I'm like, oh, I kind of familiar with that, but it's been a long time. The other thing with there's spreadsheet, there's one called SC and then SCIM. They use the VIM kind of structure. Then there's one visit data, and it's just too complicated for me to even figure out. So I said, well, why don't I do DOS? Why don't I load 1, 2, 3, WordStar, Tornado Notes, all these, different DOS programs that I know how to use, and go ahead and make DOS stuff. So I said, okay, great. Let me make a virtual machine of FreeDOS. For those of you that are listening, now I'm looking at a camera like, not so easy. FreeDOS is okay, but here's the problem. On a virtual machine, you have no way to get the software into the machine. You got to take the software, kind of expand it, and then turn it into an ISO, and then you can copy that over. I don't want to figure out how to take things that are in a floppy format, like get 7 floppies. If it's not already an ISO, I'm not running that software, because I just don't want to learn that arcane minutia. I'd rather have it for games like this. So anyways. So then I looked at DOSBox. Then everyone always said DOSBox X, and then DOSBox Staging. So I loaded DOSBox Staging, which wasn't in my package manager, but I could figure out how to do it, because that part's easy. It's zipped, and then you unzip it, and you just run it, YouTube. And you see in the future, when you're in the Fallout future, there's my blue screen Apple, the blue screen of sleep, not of death. I get you, Apple. That's a nice poke. So I loaded one of the programs, Tornado Notes, onto my DOSBox environment, and it has a directory and a link so I can just put it to. It's very easy. There's a Linux, there's a folder in Linux that I can put my programs in. It's in the same format as Linux and DOS. You know, it's a slash and subtrees and all that stuff. So it's really easy. That's great. And so part of this was finding the easiest way to get all this done. LibreOffice is good, but it's $19.95. Google Workspace is good. It's just too simple. Microsoft is good, but it's constantly flummoxing me with AI stuff and making me want to do AI. I'm coming over here not a long time ago. I did a video recently, let's say within the past 2 months, where I fought these robots. There's an event that gets turned on where the robots, the programming gets turned around where they start hunting people instead of varmints. So I'm not sure if I'm going in there in time. And there's a big alert and they tell you that. So you go in this building. I've been in this building before, but I'm looking for a terminal that I can hack. Also in these RPG games, you'll notice this isn't my normal character, although we're wearing the same clothes. I'm wearing leather armor. Chapless, I might add. And my other character's got like 15 strength and no intelligence. So you need intelligence to hack these terminals. So I just started a new character. Fallout76 has evolved from the time that when it came out, I was like the first person in line. I didn't take off work, but I wanted to take off work to play it, and I loved it, and blah, blah, blah. But it's evolved quite a bit. There's a lot. It didn't hold your hand at first. Now it holds your hand, which is good, but I don't get to make my character. In most of the Fallout games and Bethesda games, before you leave your character creation, you get to pick your base attributes. And I was going to load up on intelligence so I could just start hacking everything. Uh-oh. Also, if you watch the show Fallout, there's a tie-in now with Fallout 76 and that character. He's in the beginning of this game too, and he has a whole quest line, and he's like, you need to get a little bit better before, however he talks like a cowboy. I don't know if I can talk like a cowboy. I thought I was going to have, this is the terminal you come down to shut off the robots going amok. I thought I was going to have to hack into it, but unfortunately YouTube, not. But you see, you're going to have to use the terminal in the Fallout future, YouTube, so don't get rid of those skills. Not yet, YouTube, not yet. My house guests, the dogs have left, as well as my granddaughter, Macy and Caesar. So I got one more spot here. I did a lot of research, played it for a while, and I didn't get to this part, so I'm going to go upstairs. I think there's a terminal up here. I kind of know it since I already played the game, so that's me being, that's the falseness. I'm acting now. I'm acting like in Shakespeare. So there's a lot of uses for the terminal. I use it when I need to. When the situation calls for it, I use it. I don't shy away from it. I just use it. It's okay. It's not a thing. It's okay. I don't know if I'd run a spreadsheet. It'd be convenient if I could run 1, 2, 3 from that. I would love that. Or Nano's good enough for me to take notes. Yeah, that's great. And Joplin has a thing where you can load Joplin on your system, and you can load Joplin in the terminal. And the Joplin terminal is pretty good. I don't know how to work it. And so what a lot of this stuff, you're going to see why we moved away from terminal-based like DOS and those kind of things. Because each program you had to learn its idiosyncrasies. And I've told you this story before, but WordPerfect had the most drivers for every printer. And Microsoft came out with Microsoft Word, but WordPerfect was the king or queen of word processors because it had all the printer drivers. In every business, you'd get WordPerfect because it would run your printer no matter what. And that's one of the reasons they came up with Windows. The side benefit is it made everything the same. So how you do things is the same. Whether you're on Windows or Linux, if it has a graphical user interface, a GUI, as it were, you know roughly what to do when you get to the computer. Okay, I'm at this computer, so now it's important. So here's the trick. I went past first part, but you got to have the right level first off. Now you pick, I tried to turn that off, I can't. So I'm going to pick one of those words, and it's going to be like that old game Mastermind. It'll tell me how many I match. So I pick town, and 1 matches. So now I'm going to pick one, Womp, but it has O in it, and only has 1. So I think O's it. So now I'm going to do Dower, and I get 4 aggressive. So it has 3. So now I got to do something like Dower, has an O in it, and I picked lower, and it did it. So I unlocked it. You can do the terminal. I could spend the time to learn the spreadsheet, but I got 3 capable spreadsheets. 2 are going to suck my data out and have AI read and everything, and then 1 is LibreOffice that doesn't. There are other Office programs that aren't LibreOffice that are free and open source. Only Office is one, and Easy Office. But those both, Easy Office has an older look to it. Open Office or Only Office has a newer look to it, but it has a paid version. So here's my dilemma on everything, right? So let's talk about, so that's the terminal talk. We came down this road because I was trying to run Office apps out of terminal. It's just, it's too hard. Why would I invest that time in it? Quick side note on videos. If you want us to watch your videos, don't have a nice, enticing, geez, that's bright, YouTube. Don't have an enticing topic and then drag it out with all your dumb stuff till you get to the meat of the thing. There's some people I follow because they get right to it. It's chock full of stuff. A lot of those people, this is a daily YouTube. This is a daily thing. You might not want to hear what I say every day for 15 minutes. There's probably some topics that are more appeal to you, but it's here every day. And I don't make it an hour long. I've thought about condensing this to like once a week and then having it more well-researched and get out the hums and ahs and all that stuff. So to complete my quest, I got to do this other terminal I have to register into this other terminal. Again, you can't get away from terminal. But some of these people that do these videos, I complained a little bit about yesterday, but the next complaint is, it has a really enticing thing that draws me in, but I can tell they're going to drag it out to the bitter end. The bitter end, YouTube, no thanks. And you're going to have to do work sometimes. You're going to have to do spreadsheets. You're going to have to figure out whatever is the easiest for you. In one sense, and I think I said this before, God, I have to reiterate it. Your IT department doesn't want you to do stuff off of the computer. They want you to use the computer and tools they got. There is a thing that everything you do on that computer is the company's. Anything you create on that computer is the company's. So they really don't want you doing things on your own PC and then transferring to work, because then who owns it and they want to own it. That's just part of corporate stuff. So that's one of those things. But there's times that you need those type of tools. You could use Libre. There's a bunch of different tools for it. I might go back to DOS stuff because it's pretty easy and the files aren't proprietary. The other thing about some of these, I mentioned Obsidian, there's Joplin, there's a few other, like I'm trying a new one that does everything all in one, and it's pretty cool. A lot of those, if you don't pay a monthly fee, they'll give you a basic one, but then I'm wondering if I put my data in it, are there caps on how much I do if I use it? If I really like it and use it, and I start using the free version, are you going to? So I shy away from those. And recently in LumaFusion, I went back on their website. I told you LumaFusion has 3 video channels and has 2 audio channels and 3 like notes channels. I'd like to expand that. And I would pay whatever the cost of LumaFusion was. I'd pay that again to get this upgraded version. But that's a pack. Like I can buy that, annual pack, and it's more than so I'll just make do with what I got. Or I'll learn to use Kdenlive. And so that's what a lot of these people don't know. I'm a real proponent of LumaFusion. Let me buy it again at more money. Let me spend whatever, but I don't want to do for the rest of the years. I've used this for 3 years. It's a great value at that. I want to add a little bit of functionality. I don't want to pay a subscription. And I don't have to with Kdenlive. It's free. So you never know what the future is going to hold. I don't want to be so restrictive and so worried about the future that I don't use good software. But at the same time, I want to, like that program Tornado Notes, I bought it a long time ago. I can use it. It works great. And so that's installed on my Linux system, right? And so I may give you a demo of that. Not for anything, but just because it's there. And so I'd like to get a spreadsheet on there too, because sometimes I like to crunch a little number, especially for these games. Also, one last thing I know is a grab bag. Saw another video. This guy, I think I mentioned it yesterday or the last video. He does comparisons of Linux on older software. And so part of the problem are the drivers. You can see that the drivers, like on a 3070, aren't as updated for Linux as a 5070 for Linux, right? So that's one of the disadvantages of Linux. The newest hardware has the newest drivers, and right, because as things have evolved, but companies don't go back. They don't get any money for going back. So I'm going to probably talk about his video a little bit because it's a great point he brought out. He didn't say that, but it's obvious from his data. So this is Ronan Kazi just doing it, terminaling it, and decided that running my office through terminal while I could, and that'd be a flex move. Ronan Kazi is too old to flex at that point. This is Ronan Kazi out.